for the first time this season, back by popular demand, the dynamic duo. Bad boys in the building. It's Darren Lewis and Jermaine Beckford.
We've started already, I
know. It's been tough just getting us to this point. Very excited to have you guys on for the next hour and hear your thoughts, especially, obviously, starting with the big news, the biggest news in world football this week, which is Manchester United sacking a manager on Monday, announcing a new one on Friday. Quite a timeline.
Yeah, absolutely. Efficient, at last, from Manchester United. Who knew? Sad for Ten Hag, of course. A decent man, a decent coach. Perhaps not the right fit for Manchester United, as we've seen with the numbers and the performances and the position in the table. Amorim, young, exciting, 39 years of age. He has an identity about the way that he plays. He has done superb things with his club, and I think he will bring an energy to the Old Trafford Theatre of Dreams that they need.
Isn't it funny, Jermaine? I'm sure you've been in a situation before where, you know, you've had a manager change. Everything that United were missing in terms of chances in front of goals suddenly went in midweek. There was already a fresh energy and a change.
Yeah, it was like the reins had been taken off and the weight had been lifted. Every single one of the players gave an extra 5%. And it doesn't seem like much. But when you've got players operating at 85% already, that extra 5%, it does add up. Maybe it's a change of voice, a change of direction, different game plan from Van Nistelrooy. Obviously, watching the game, he didn't change too much. They pressed a little bit higher up the field. They pressed with a little bit more intensity, a little bit more aggression as well. But they got in the final third a lot more often. And obviously, look, 5 goals is where they ended up.
Just on a basic level, do players look at the fact that a new manager's coming in and think, he might bomb me out if I don't now step up?
100%. 100%. Because every manager comes in with their own, like you mentioned, identity, their own game plan, the way they want to operate. Now, players that have been regulars under Ten Hag or Moyes or Jose or whoever it may be before that, they're not comfortable because they're like, right, well, every manager that comes in wants to bring in their own players, their own squad. They want to have their own squad. So in 18 months' time, we'll look back at this Manchester United team, compare it with that one in 18 months' time, and there won't be many similarities between them in terms of the personnel, especially in the way that they operate, the way the teams play. Every player is worried about their position now because it's a new manager. You don't want your position to be the one position that he targets first.
I have to say, Jules, that should be the case at Manchester United. It
all the time.
Absolutely should be
all the
case.
Time.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of the problem with Ten Hag. There were no consequences for poor performance.
Yes.
And what that meant was that they would continue on a slide towards, well, the position they are in the table. What is it, 14th now? Now, Manchester United should not be there, 9-10 games into this season. But because there were so many players secure about their positions, either because he'd bought them or because he wouldn't crack the whip enough, I think there was a malaise there that they've struggled to shake themselves out of, and they became one of the easiest teams to play against in the Premier League.
What was easier? What's interesting as well, is when Sir Alex Ferguson was in charge, every 6 months, every window, doesn't matter who you are, key players, the best players, the most influential players, your position was under threat every single window. And he would bring players in to replace Van Nistelrooy, who was arguably one of the best goal scorers Manchester United had at the time, Roy Keane, David Beckham. All of these players' positions were under threat. As you mentioned, there were no consequences for poor performances. That's why they are sitting where they are. If they lose this weekend and 2 other teams below them win, they can find themselves in 16th position, 4 points, above relegation zone after 10 games. Manchester United.
You guys have been speaking about the players and the state of the squad currently. Well, United defender Diego Dallo has been speaking to us about his compatriot Ruben Amorim and about Ten Hag being sacked.
I mean, it's obviously sad. Unfortunately, not my first time changing managers at this club, but like I used to say, I always try to grab the positives out of things. I want to keep the good memories with him. What we've done in the last 2 years, winning 2 trophies. I won the first trophy at this club with him, so it was really important for me and for the club. I think it's not a question that he gave everything for this club. He will have our respect and my respect forever. So really happy with what we did together, but obviously a sad moment when you see them leave. I know him obviously from Portugal, from managing a big club in Portugal. So really excited for the news. I mean, I think he has more than ability to come for a club like this. I think he deserved already a big step like this in his career. So I'm really happy that was to come here.
Right, that's a current Manchester United player. Why don't we hear from a former one now? Owen Hargreaves joins us on Team Talks tonight. Owen, thank you so much for your time. Great to be speaking to you. What a week for Manchester United. Sacked the manager on Monday, named a replacement on Friday. What have you made of all of it?
It was the right step. You know, it's a shame. I thought Dan, kind of nailed it in terms of Ten Hag. I think everybody wanted to do well, but it wasn't going well. Let's be honest. The team wasn't performing well. They weren't scoring goals. They weren't getting results. So I think change was inevitable. And I don't think they could have picked a better manager than Ruben Amorim. Brilliant coach, super successful, had success as a player, had success as a manager. He's got a clear identity, his team's attack. So, I mean, look, I'm delighted for Manchester United. I think in a way, I think they've hit the jackpot with this one.
What can we expect from him, do you think, as Manchester United manager?
Well, he's going to have a different pressure. I know obviously being a sporting manager comes with pressure. And he led them back to success, winning trophies, which is hugely important. But Manchester United is different. And I think we've seen that for players, for managers, even some of the great ones. You think about Van Gaal and Mourinho have come here and found, I think, the intensity of it quite remarkable. We've heard players speak about it. I mean, we just had Diego Dallo there. I love him. I think he's a brilliant player, speaks very clearly. He's probably one of the most consistent players. But the goal here is you got to win trophies. Obviously people have had success, Ten Hag in Holland, and I think obviously Amorim's had success in Portugal. But this is different with the pressure, expectation, and the quality of the opposition. It's going to be tough. But I think they signed the perfect manager, and now in a way they've got to sort the recruitment out, and that's going to be interesting with the way that Amorim plays in that 3-4-3. There's going to be one or two that are going to be marginalised, I think, in this formation, in this system. But my only hope is that the players enjoy it, put a smile on their face. He sounds like a player's manager, which was what we all want. And you just want to see this club back where it belongs. It's too big a football club to be in 14th in the Premier League. It's absolutely remarkable.
Hi, Owen. Darren here. You've played for some big managers, some tactical geniuses, but also some managers with charisma. The way the Premier League is now, do you feel that he needs to come in, Amorim, with that character and charisma to manage a club the size of Manchester United, with the personalities in that dressing room?
It's a good question, Darren. I think obviously dealing with the players is the most important thing, but then you got to deal up. You got to deal with the owners, and you got to deal with you guys, with the journalists every day. And I think that's one of the trickiest parts. A lot of people criticize us doing this job, whether it's myself or Paul Scholes or Gary Neville, and being very critical of the players. But the fact of the matter is they're not getting results. So there's going to be a lot of pressure, but I think he's up to it. And I think the way that people led back in the day, Sir Alex, he was the boss. We used to call him literally the boss because he was the boss. I don't think the lads will do that anymore with Ruben Amorim. I think he communicates differently. I think the younger managers are more open. They communicate more. They answer questions. You would have never said to Sir Alex, why am I not playing? Yeah. You just would have never asked him, because he would have given you a look that you would have never knocked on his door ever again. And I think Amorim is probably slightly different in the fact he'll communicate. And I think that's probably one of his greatest attributes. But ultimately, he's got to win. That's the most important thing. If he doesn't win, then, not that we're coming for anyone, but we'll be criticizing. You'll be criticizing with your colleagues. Julia will be criticizing. And it's tough. It is really tough. And I do think the pressure gets to people. I don't think they're used to the magnitude of the football club. But we just want to see Man United back where it belongs. It deserves so much better than where they're at right now.
And Owen, just a quick one. The timing of the appointment and when he's going to join up with Manchester United, I personally think it's a masterclass in terms of he's going to join up with the club when he's got a relatively favourable run of games. They're 3 out of the 4 games you would expect Manchester United to win as soon as he takes over. He's got the international break to work with some of his players. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that's handpicked from him. The club would have wanted him in this weekend.
Yeah.
But he would have looked at it and said, right, give me a little bit of time. I mean, Jermaine, you know what it's like. You never get a manager gets a sack and you get 2 weeks to work with the group.
No chance.
That would have been happening from Ruben Amorim. So he would have said, look, I'll come in on that day. Obviously, they need to make it work with Sporting. But I think you're right. I think it's a masterclass from him. But ultimately, he's got to get results. And I do think they have some tough games in and around that time. I think the first one's quite favourable. But yeah, I think the timing was from Amorim. When you got other cards like he did, then you can probably pick and choose when you're going to start.
Oh, and what do you think about the idea that he comes from a weaker league, an inferior league? My view is that there is so much pressure at Sporting to win the title, and the first of his titles was after 19 years. How does that compare to the pressure he will have at Manchester United and his ability to cope with it?
Great question, Darren. I think, look, if you look at his body of work even as a player, this guy has played at the highest level. He's won trophies, he's played for his country, and he's had success. He came into a Sporting team that hadn't won a trophy for ages, and this guy's winning doubles, and he's doing it in style. They're scoring goals. He's got a clear identity. I think he's young. I think he can relate to the players. But the most important thing is he has success. So look, I think if you're a great one, like all these guys are, you want to measure yourself with the best. He's done it in Portugal, and he's a young guy, and he's like, right, okay, let's bring on the next test. 100% it's a different test from what he's experienced in Portugal. But from my experience, I grew up playing football in Canada, went to Germany, came to England. I never, ever would have thought I would have got that far. And I'm sure Ruben Amorim probably never dreamed he'd be this successful manager at such a young age. But you know what? He's here, and he's one of probably the hottest commodities in the management game. And I think Manchester United done a brilliant job of getting him in quick, because that situation with Ten Hag was untenable. And right now, obviously, he needs a bit of time in the window. But I like the fact he develops young players, brings players to the academy, which is Manchester United's DNA. Yeah. And it's going to take a bit of time to catch up with United, with City and Liverpool and Arsenal. But give him time, I think he'll get there from his body of work, which is the only thing you can go off.
Yeah, the graphic we'd shown there while you were talking, Owen, was just his win ratio, which I think since he's taken over at Sporting was the best across Europe's 10 leagues. So quite impressive. Just another question for you. Under Ten Hag, United did suffer some hammerings. When Amorim looks at the squad, what do you think will be his top kind of priorities? What do you think he'll tackle first?
Great question. I think he needs another centre-back. I think he needs another centre-back, because if he's going to play that 3-4-3, I think obviously Euro's going to come in. I think he's going to do that. But I don't know. I think he needs a striker, and I think he needs a centre-back. I think he's got some. I think Rashford's going to love this system in the way that they play. I think Garnacho's going to be brilliant as well. But I think they need a striker, and I think they need a centre-back to go along with the players that they have. But I'm just excited. I think we just needed a change, and I think this is a brilliant change. And I'm sure he's going to want to spend some money. But I think if you're a great coach, you look at that group and you'll go, I can make these guys better. I can help them win. And I truly believe a young manager like him can get more of this group than Erik ten Hag has got. I'm almost certain of it. Mm-hmm.
Owen, we got to let you go, but before we do, please do us a favour and tell Jermaine his question was good as well.
Please. Owen, mate, you're killing me, man. Everybody's getting great questions. I'm getting nothing, bro.
Man, come on, you know I love you.
Okay, thanks so much, Owen. Thanks for your time.
Oh, man.
Cheers.
Okay, so Ruud van Nistelrooy played with Chelsea boss Enzo Maresca at Malaga over a decade ago, and we'll hear from Maresca in a moment. But first, here's Van Nistelrooy on taking the reins at Old Trafford on an interim basis.
Hi, Ruud.
Hi.
Given you're here, I'm guessing you're going to be leading the side on Sunday. And beyond that, what's the situation?
I'm guessing that too. So yes. As I said, it's going to be a short job as an interim. That was communicated very clear, and I was happy with that. I felt that I was called upon to help the club forward in this situation, and obviously it was difficult, and that Erik had to leave. I was very disappointed, obviously with mixed feelings. But after that, you have to switch and the mindset to win, because in the end 75,000 people waiting and celebrating and millions watching at home. So I think that's what we try to do, and same for Sunday at least, and then after that we'll see.
Have you spoken much to Eric since Monday?
Yes, I've seen him Monday here, and I've spoken to him yesterday before the game. Obviously, very disappointed and touched because he really cared for the club. I said also yesterday that in the first conversation we had over talks that for me to come back to the club with him, I really felt that he cared and loved the club and wanted to bring that club, this club forward, and that's why we connected. And that's why he's also heard that, you know, he had to leave, but also proud of his achievements here with the 2 cups, and obviously the history that he's leaving with that.
Ruud, can you explain why it's not worked out? When we saw everyone in Los Angeles in the summer, there was a lot of optimism around the club. The signings came in.
Yeah.
It seemed as though everything was aligned and ready to go forward, and it's just not happened.
No, I think in the end it's also clear in football that it's the results, and Eric also said, hey, you know, we, as you say, in pre-season we had a new staff and all very positive and working hard to bring the club forward, and obviously there's things, you know, you can't explain sometimes, you know. I also remember the Brighton goal we scored, Ghana via Josh in, and then you concede the 2-1. You know, there's been so many games where we felt that we could get a better result for the way we played. I'm talking Palace, I'm talking West Ham, I'm talking Fenerbahce, I'm talking Porto. So, you know, but in the end we also know that it's about results, this game, and that's part of it, of our jobs.
Just in terms of you said that the ownership of it said it's short term, go in and do it. Does that mean you're expecting to leave when the new manager comes in? And what does the future hold for you? Because you have been a manager, you could have been a manager before deciding to come back here.
Yes, and I decided to come back here for a very important reason, that I'm here. And as an assistant, I came here to help the club forward. And I'm still very motivated to do so in any capacity. And as an assistant, and now as an interim manager, and after that I go back to my assistant contract that I have here for this season and next. And I'm very motivated to stay here and help the club forward. That's my absolute goal.
So, Ruud, it's your expectation that you will remain as an assistant manager when the new permanent manager is installed?
We will see, but it's a contract situation that I'm in, and my desire to help the club forward. So I can speak to you about my side of this story, and after that, when the new situation is occurring, when the new manager is signing and conversations takes place, we have to see how things develop.
Do you expect you'll have any conversations with the new incoming manager about your own situation, but also about the squad and any tips and hints you could give him?
Yeah, of course. But that's the thing that I want to help. I want to do everything I can in my abilities, as other people, many others do in this club, to fight for this club. And the club is in a difficult situation. And it's not there where we all want it to be, but the challenge is therefore the bigger. And that's why I'm here. And of course, it's a situation where everybody's looking at Man United and the situation there it's in. But it's us as people on the floor, on the ground, on the floor here, to do the utmost, supported by our fans. And of course, it's a process, and it's something to work for and do everything for.
No, first of all the best to him. And again, if the people in charge, they took that decision, it's because they think it's the correct one. So all the best to him and all the best to Man United.
And your old friend Ruud van Nistelrooy is in interim charge for this weekend's game. Have you spoken to him, and do you think that Chelsea can capitalise on all the upheaval currently going on at United?
I didn't speak with Ruud. I will give him a big hug on Sunday before the game, and yeah, we expected a tough game. So,
what are your memories of playing with him?
First of all, fantastic guy, humble, very professional. Unfortunately, I share with him time when he was already finished in terms of player. But even with that, you can see how good he was. So, but first of all, the best thing is that we had a very good group of human beings in that time with Malaga. So it's always nice to to remember that kind of moment.
Chelsea haven't won at Old Trafford in the league in over a decade, since 2013. Is this a good time to be playing them, do you think?
We didn't win then since 2014. Oh yeah, hopefully it's a good time. I hope so. That show how difficult is that stadium, not only for us, for every club, and we're gonna try to do our best and try to win the game.
Can you tell us about any team news? Obviously, Reece James is hoping to start a third Premier League game. Is he okay? And Wesley Fofana, you were saying, was playing in pain. Is he okay to start this one?
They are all available, unless Jadon, that he has been ill in the last days.
You made 11 changes in the Carabao Cup. Is it true to say that you were willing to sacrifice the Carabao Cup to win at Old Trafford?
No, absolutely. We prepared the game to win in the last game against the Newcastle Carabao. Unfortunately, we lost, but we prepare every game to try to win. And the reason why we make changes, I said many times, is not because there is A team or B team. We are all one team. The only reason is because they all deserve to play. Some of them, they are playing in the Premier League game, some of them in the Conference or Carabao. But in one game, in 2 games, they can change. The ones that they are playing in Carabao and Conference, they can play Premier League game, and in the other side. So I said already 2-3 times that for me, we have 24-25 outfield players, and there is only one team, only one squad. And what we try to do is to share minutes with all of them.
And what would you say about Enzo Fernandez at the moment? You seem to show your frustration with him during that game. Obviously, he's not starting for you in the Premier League. You still believe in Enzo? I
show frustration with Enzo?
I think so, when he misplaced a pass.
I show frustration with all of them. So don't look only at Enzo. I still trust Enzo. There is not any reason in the world that I can lose confidence on him. The reason why he's not playing in the Premier League is because in this moment I take different decision, but my confidence is 100% with Enzo.
And just one last one, if I may. Cole Palmer, you kept back in midweek. You didn't put him on the field, but he scored 4 times against United last season. Are you expecting a big performance from him?
I hope so. He's going to play. I guess he's going to play. No, yeah, but Cole is doing every time very good. I said at the beginning of the season, if we expect from him 20 goals again and 20 assists again, probably is wrong, because we don't need to put all the pressure on his shoulder. He has to enjoy football, and if he enjoy, for sure he's going to score, and for sure he's going to assist his teammates. So Cole is playing well, not only when he scores goals, he's playing well even when he doesn't score, because allow the rest to play in the right way.
Soraya?
Hello. We've seen 2 right backs, Reece and Gusto, this season play more, a little bit on the left. Gusto a little bit more. He's been getting into more attacking positions, sometimes even as a 10, taking his shot outside of the box. What's your reasoning and thoughts of him sort of playing this role over a natural left back? And can we expect to see him stay in that role now Reece is back and can play at the right?
Yeah, the reason why it's all, first of all, because we think that with the Malo there, playing as a 10, we can create or cause problem to the opponent. And for sure he's doing fantastic. I said in the last press conference, Malo is helping us a lot in terms of process, because he's playing as a holding midfielder, he's playing in the pocket, he's playing, I think, for some moment like central defender. So it's like a little bit like Renato, some of them that they are playing in different position. But for sure Malo is doing well, and he's going to continue in that way.
Teammates at Malaga in the 2011-2012 season, Van Nistelrooy and Maresca now head-to-head as managers on Sunday. Chelsea will be looking at this week at Manchester United, all the hype around this new manager, all the focus on off-the-field issues. Yep. And they'll be thinking, oh, great, we can just focus on the game, will they?
Yeah, they're not going to be thinking about anything that's going on off the field, I don't think. They'll be looking, and from a personal perspective, I would say, right, let's go and burst their bubble. Let's go and ruin their party, because everybody's excited. Everybody's over the moon happy that Manchester United have got a new manager. Let's go and ruin it. Let's make them uncomfortable. Chelsea are really, really good in turning possession, in how quickly they attack down either wing, through the middle. Cole Palmer's been outrageously fantastic again for another season. But their attacking threat is brilliant. There's not many teams in the league, I think, that have conceded more than Chelsea, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So defensively, they look relatively good as well, with exception to the cup
Chelsea?
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's room for improvement.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Nobody in the league is perfect. You look at Man City; they're not even perfect. And for me, they're still arguably the best team in the league. But Chelsea Enzo seems to know what his favourable starting 11 and 3 subs off the bench are. So he's sticking with that, and he's got all of the players playing with a level of confidence, self-belief. And they look fantastic. They really, really do. And I actually think they might be a cheeky shout for a European spot, possibly Champions League.
Yeah, and when you've got Cole Palmer in the squad, who's capable of magic, every time we talk about him or we ask his teammates about him, they just, they love that he's in their team right now. What are we calling it? Pre-assist against Newcastle to pick out Neto. And then the goal that he scored himself. And he's got a great record against United of late. Scored 4 against them last season.
Yeah, but I think this will be a battle, Jules. I really do. I mean, it might well be that he ends up being the jewel in the crown and the decisive contributor to the game. But I think he'll have to fight for it because, listen, we know that when he's on the ball and when he's in situations where the pressure's on him, he can deliver. But this was against a Ten Hag side that were all over the place, that were fragile, that couldn't see out a victory or even a draw. This side under Van Nistelrooy, you could see how well he fit the chair. He was sitting there, he had that assuredness about him.
Hyped the fans up before.
And I think all of these players now, as Jermaine was rightly saying, they're now fighting to be in Amorim's team. They know what the state of play is. They know that he's just minding the store and that Amorim's going to come along. He'll be watching from wherever and he's going to be seeing who is up for it now, who's fighting for it, who wants to be part of my plans. I was asking Jermaine during the VT, I know I should have been paying attention, forgive me, but I was asking Jermaine about what formation he will play, because Amorim plays a 3-4-3 formation. I was saying, will he play that way? And Jermaine, you were saying...
I think he will. I think in possession, he'll go with the 3-4-3. One of the holding centre midfield players will drop in to make a 3 at the back. And he'll have the wing backs high and wide. Goes on behind the forwards, will be intricate. There'll be a lot of movement. He likes really quick-paced players, and Manchester United have that in abundance, Out of possession, I think they'll drop back, the 2 fullbacks will drop back into a narrow 4 and just really, really pack out the centre midfield places. Don't leave any spaces for players like Cole Palmer to try and exploit.
But I think a couple of things. I think Amorim picks that team, right? And I know we'll...
He was asked about it in the press conference, though, and he's
never going to admit it, but I agree with that.
Definitely knows. But you guys think no?
I think yes, because he's going to want to try and imprint his DNA on the team now. And in that way, when he does take over and during the international break, the players will have an idea of the type of football he wants to play and the way that he wants them to set up, etc. And it will make his job that much easier. So then he'll have the almost 2 weeks during international break to really implement his style.
Ruud van Nistelrooy is also in such an awkward position because, it's his moment. He is in charge now. This will be on the record. He got that big win in midweek as interim boss. But he's also hoping to stay on. But
he's in a win-win situation because those players are going to be fighting for him. And if they get that win, they're going to be fighting for Amorim. So if they win, the credit goes to Van Nistelrooy. But it's Amorim's setup. It's Amorim, as Jermaine's been spelling out. It's his blueprint for the way that he wants to play. As I said, I think this will be a fight. I know... As a journalist, I kind of want to see Cole Palmer do what he did last season. Yeah. But I think this will be a battle. I think at some points it may even be ugly because they will want to show that they are prepared to fight to be in Amorim's plans. And I think as you talk about the midfield being packed up and space being denied to players. I think tempos will fray because Chelsea will want to rattle those cages, but I don't think they'll be as defensively weak as they were in that match that we just saw there. I think this will be a very different United, the United that Amorim wants to take charge of.